As I told you previously, you need to have a decent machine which is having at least 16 GB of RAM to run the local models. My machine is having enough memory, so I'm going to create one in the local using Hyper-V. Suppose you don't have enough memory in your machine and you are going to create a machine in the cloud, you can simply skip this section and go to the next section where I'm going to walk you through how to actually create a VM in the Azure cloud. Let's open Hyper-V Manager. Hyper-V Manager is the one where we are going to create a new VM. So before that we need to have an ISO from which we are going to install the OS. So let's download an Ubuntu server for that. You can download Ubuntu from ubuntu.com. So go into the download Ubuntu, select Ubuntu server, get Ubuntu server and go to the 2510. This is the latest at this point of time. You can download it. It is little bit smaller than the LTS version. You can click this one and it will download it. I have already downloaded and kept it in my downloads folder. So we are selecting the server OS because as we are going to do the development, we are not going to have Ubuntu desktop. We are going to have the VS Code as a front end and Ubuntu is going to run in the background using remote SSH. In that case, we don't need a full desktop setup, so you can avoid actual desktop and go to server mode. Now let's go to the Hyper-V Manager and let's create a new VM. So quick create new virtual machine. Yeah, keep moving on. Next, let's give the name as Ubuntu Agent Development. I'm not going to change the path where it is going to be created, and it is going to be generation 2 VM. So I have 32 GB memory in this machine, so I'm going to give 24 GB for this machine. So it is going to be 24. So I'm not going to use dynamic memory. So when the machine is created, all the 24 GB memory will be allocated to the Ubuntu VM itself. Moving on, network. Yes. Yes, we need networking because we are going to connect the Windows machine with the Ubuntu machine using the SSH, and the VS Code is going to run on the Windows, and we need default switch to connect with the Ubuntu machine. Next. And hard disk, I don't need much space. We can give just literally 50 GB should be sufficient. Moving on. So installing from the downloaded ISO, select browse and go to the downloads folder where Ubuntu is already downloaded. Select the appropriate ISO. Press next. Finish. So you can see, yes. We don't need to go on this one. So we have created the Ubuntu dev and we can start now. So first time it is going to do the installation. So after you start, you press a connect. In this connect, you can see the serial console of the machine. So looks like the booting didn't go through. So this app, I think I identified the problem. So actually we have to go into the settings. So I will just walk you through. Actually right click on the machine, go to the settings and select security, disable enable security, but we should not keep this enabled because this is mainly for Windows. So if this is enabled, only a signed image will be taken for booting. So we are using an ISO image downloaded from the internet. Mostly this will not be signed one, and even if it is signed, Windows will not have a certificate from Canonical. So this may not be applicable. So just deselect this enable secure boot and press apply, OK, and start again. Hopefully this time it should run. Let's connect with that machine. Oh cool, it is booting. Let's select try and install Ubuntu server. So initial boot will take some time because it has to identify all the hardware, it has to get your menu options, your preferences, and then it has to create the file system in your given hard disk. So it is going to take you some time. You have to be a little bit patient about this. Okay, my language is English. Done. Ubuntu, so let's use minimized one. We don't need to have full server. Okay, you have to use tab to move around, and to select you have to select space, then again space, select done. I'm selecting minimal because I don't want to wait for so long for the machine to come up. Maybe if anything is pending, we can install later once the machine is booted up. So DHCP4 address it got from ETH4 because it has connected to the default switch. So this is good. Moving on. And proxy address not required. We are not going to put internet for now. Okay, it can able to connect with internet, so that is fine. The default switch is providing internet for the Ubuntu. It is downloading the latest packages. So package source updated. Next, are we going to use 50 GB of the local disk? Yes, entire 50 GB used for that. So simply go to done. Next, So it is a partition table it is going to create. We are fine with that. Move on. No problem. Continue. It is asking my name, server name, username. Install SSH server. Yes, we need SSH server because we are going to connect with that using VS Code. Let's simply enable OpenSSH server and move to next. I think we can ignore all of them and move to the next stage. Now officially the installation started. Okay, let's see the full log. Let's see what is happening. I think it will take 30 to 40 minutes. If the system is faster, it may even complete before that. Let's see how long it takes. Actually, it has taken more than 15-20 minutes in the machine, and after that it has completed all the setup, and now it is giving me option to view full log or reboot. Let's go to the reboot now. Machine is going for reboot. So this time it did not go for an installation medium, so it has to actually boot from the hard disk. If it is okay, it is asking us to remove the installation medium. We cannot able to remove it is not a hardware, right? So let's try entering and let's see whether it is booting from CD-ROM or hard disk. I think looks like it has booted from the hard disk. So we can log in with the username and password we have provided when we set up the machine. Mine is Bala. Yes, we got the machine booted. Let me see the IP address of the machine. Okay, I got 172. Let me note it down. So once the VM is fully booted, we are not going to use this console anymore. We will connect with this machine using the VS Code remote SSH server, and then we will do the development in VS Code console itself. So let's go to the remote desktop, remote explorer, and let's try to add a new server here. The IP address is going to be, okay, it is going to be username at the rate. You have to type the username whatever you have given. Mine is Bala, so Bala at the rate. The IP address is 172.28.168 and 110. So I will store the config at this place. Okay, fine. Connect to the machine. Okay, it is trying to connect to the remote server, which is nothing but which is running on. Okay, it is asking me what machine it is. It is a Linux machine. Select Linux. Yes, I want to continue, and the password is whatever I have created initially. So still it is in progress. It is trying to open the remote console. So actually first time VS Code will install the VS Code server in the Ubuntu machine. So from next time onwards it will be a little bit faster. Let's wait for the VS Code server to be downloaded into the Ubuntu machine. Once it is running, and we will get our console here. Good, the server is installed and we got the console. So let's just run. So it is a pretty much Ubuntu 25.10 we have installed. So this is how we actually created Ubuntu server running on the local machine, and let's see what is the RAM here. So it has to be free-h, I think. We got 22 gigs of RAM. I think this is sufficient to run the local model. Hope this section was clear. So you can just follow it step by step. If you have a machine which is having more than 32 GB of RAM, you can use this method and you can run the Ubuntu VM on your Windows machine itself. If you're already running a Linux laptop, Linux PC, you don't need to create this server. You can actually use the primary bare metal machine itself as a server for VS Code. So that is going to be very straightforward. If at all you are having a Windows machine and want to use Ubuntu server into the virtual machine, follow this method. In the next section, we are going to create the same Ubuntu server, but not in your bare metal, not in your laptop. We are going to create that in the cloud, in Azure cloud.